Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar on revolutionizing accounts payable with Smart AP and Tele integration. I am Pallavi, your moderator for this insightful session. In today's fast-paced business environment, managing accounts payable efficiently is critical for maintaining healthy cash flow and improving vendors' relationship. This is where AIQoD 360's Smart AP powered by GenAI steps into to make a significant impact. Our webinar today will showcase how Smart AP seamlessly integrated with Tally and other smart financing accounting platforms delivers touchless invoice system, enhancing decision making with real-time insights and automates workflow to reduce operational cost and improve accuracy. We are honored to have with us Mr. Anil Nair, CEO of AIQoD 360 and a thoughtful leader in AI-driven enterprise today. Mr. Anil will walk us through the benefits and use cases and a live demonstration of Smart AP in action. So let's get you to learn from Mr. Anil how this solution is transforming accounts payable into a streamlined strategic function for businesses. Welcome, Mr. Anil.
Thank you, Pallavi. Always pleasure to be here. Okay, so I think from this session, what we are going to cover are three aspects. Okay, how the modern way of handling accounts payable, how organizations are transforming themselves and using the GenAI kind of technologies to change the way finance and accounting was being done. And I think most important is today speed matters, right? How you react to or how much efficiency bring in your operations and any operations, right? Finance function, one of the departments in your organization enterprise would be finance function, and how efficiently you operate that function is very very important as well. And this is not just by what we have read uh, uh, in the market, or what we have also faced is something what we are implementing here, right? We also have the same situation, we also have the same issues, that for us speed becomes important to take decisions on the fly based on whatever has happening at ground level. This becomes very very critical from organization point of view. Being at the helm of the organization enterprise, unless I see those data points, for me it becomes very very challenging to take decisions. And this is why the speed, efficiency, how organizations adopt these technologies becomes very crucial. Second is, in this case we are going to talk about Tally integration with Tally, on how the platform automatically integrates with Tally. But also at the same time, this platform can integrate with any financial accounting systems. We have multiple accounting systems. We have implemented solutions for SAP, Oracle Financials. But for a SaaS model, the first release that we did was with Tally. So you can with just one click of button, it automatically gets integrated with Tally, and then you can start posting entries. Automated entries can getting posted into Tally. That's a solution that we will showcase in this webinar. And most important, I think what I covered initially as well, that the efficiency will come through speeding up operation, but at the same time AI driven insights becomes very very crucial. What are the cash flows which are going in, what are the kind of projections which are coming in, or you see, and how do you see the business growth. These are all data points that are important for organizations to take decisions, and to even in, for example, to take decisions of investment, right? Which is the right area to invest in. All those things cannot be just on a gut feeling basis, right? It has to be based on data which is supported, and which is basically traction which happens through the systems, and the data that comes out of the system through financial accounting system, for that matter, right? So these are the three aspects that we will cover today in the webinar. Okay, moving on.
Before we move on, there is one poll question for our audience. What is the most challenging aspect of your account payable process? Is it manual data entry, delays in approval cycle, difficulty tracking invoices and payments, or managing supplier relationships? please take a minute to give us a answer on this challenging question, as we are eager to understand what is the biggest market challenge at the moment. I request all of our guests to please give us your input for this poll question so that we can have an interactive session with you. And yes, we will also address any of your questions in the end of the session. So let's take us 10 more seconds to answer this question. All right, thank you so much. And here are the results. 70% of the people are having challenges of manual data entry. And yes, it is one of the most time-taking part as well, because there's always a scope of human error when you're entering the details, long figures into the system, and discrepancy also comes in when in the database. Delays in approval cycle is 5%, and difficulty tracking invoices and payment is 25%. Tracking is a very important part of any accounting and financing work, because when we are having a proper tracking system in place, we can get revenue reports and payments on time. So thank you so much for giving us your insights. Moving on.
It's funny that nobody voted for managing supplier relationships. I think that's because the invoice is about payments to suppliers. Probably, that's why nobody voted for that. So okay, so I think as the poll suggested, that data entry was one of the biggest issue. Okay, so I'll come to that point. I will refer to the poll responses as well. Let's look at what is smart AP. Okay, if you look at from a end-to-end cycle perspective of a invoice automation or smart AP, where a invoice comes from your vendor or supplier, it has to go through certain checks, right? Someone is going to look at that invoice, validate all the data before it actually is posted into a financial accounting system before the payment happens through that platform, payment platform, right? Or financial accounting platform. Now, this flow looks very great, I mean, very simple, but actually in reality, there is a lot of complications, right? For example, I'm just taking example of one of the implementation that we did, very recent implementation was, there were almost like 60 plus business rules which were validated, business rules, okay, which are not technical rules. I mean, that means someone was today manually sitting and validating all those 60 business rules for every invoice which is coming into the platform, right? Now that's a huge effort, right? Now imagine if this is done manually, what is the kind of payment cycle it will have, right? There are various mechanisms where supplier also put some interest rates and delayed payments and those kind of to and fro's keeps happening. So to avoid all those kind of challenges issues, you need to look at a modern way of handling accounts payable, where it is more of an automated way of handling things, right? And we'll come to that nitty gritty of how it is done. But today, like I mentioned about those 60 business rules which are applied, and those are not so easy rules as well, because some of the rules, for example, one of the rule is whether, if let's say a new invoice comes in for a new vendor, whether that vendor is even registered into your ERP system or a accounting system, that has to be first checked, right? So this is a simple check which someone has to go to ERP, whether they have access or not. That's the first question, right? So typically, what happens is the people who have a job of data entry of these invoices, they will not have access to the other side. So if that is the case, it becomes even more challenging to validate the data. So imagine you have a system which actually does all these checks, and this is one of the checks out of those 60 business rules which I'm talking about. So in this, typically cycle, right, you have those validation which are done. Once it is validated, there is some approval mechanisms or workflow maker checker kind of a concept which actually have typically is there in many organizations, where you look at those invoices, you approve those invoices before it goes and before the payments are done. Now, certain organizations are there who actually also look at certain rules for even approval mechanism. So, for example, if the invoice is of certain amount more than this, then there has to be multiple levels of approvals and things like that. So there are various mechanisms, ways to automate this entire flow or life cycle and make it more efficient for organizations, right? So these are certain aspects. Last but not the least, how do you look at all these data which is flowing through? The system is processing all these invoices and all. How to get a bird's eye view of what is happening today, right? How many invoices are outstanding? What is my current cash flow? How many payments are pending? All those things views you don't get, literally, if you unless you ask for a report from team, right? Now this is where, if you have a system which is completely automated in real time, as the invoice keeps coming in, as it is getting processed, you have a dashboard where you can look at all the data points. This becomes very important from an organization perspective to give a or take real time decisions based on those data points. So those are some of the aspects which becomes important. And one of the another aspect is that accounting system, right? There are multiple accounting systems in the market. Today we are going to show something with Tally, but there are other systems as well, right? How do you automatically integrate with those systems without taking too much of time and effort to implement such systems, and how the system helps in making this faster? I'll also talk about, during the demo, I'll also talk about various capabilities that the platform provides. For example, I'm just giving an example, and we have also faced this issue multiple times. Is So, for example, TDS, right? I mean, if you have an invoice which is coming in from a supplier, you have certain TDS which is applied based on the type of material or type of service you have taken, right? And these varies. It is not constant, right? And that also has to be understood, right? And you have to always cut that much before you pay to the end supplier or vendor. Now this varies vendor to vendor, because, like I mentioned, based on service and material you buy. And because of that, you need to remember, and most of the time this is very I would say people oriented. People know these things, that's why they are able to feed this information, right? But imagine if you have a system in place which actually remembers these things, right? You know that, okay, for X supplier, because the person is providing such a service, this is that, let's say 10% is the TDS. Next time you process the invoice, the system will know that this is the this for this specific vendor or supplier, you have to cut 10%. The system will automatically show that, and then you can easily just approve it, right? And this is how you will bring more and more efficiency in your operations when you talk about a smart AP. So this is what we are offering in terms of how you can make it a more streamlined finance based operation. We'll talk about other capabilities as well as we keep moving ahead. Yes, Pallavi, can you move to the next slide? Now, I think covered some of these. Let's probably revisit before the actual demo happens. So the first part is about touchless processing, right? So there are various mechanisms. Imagine you have, I mean, I'm just taking example of how we operate, right? For example, let's say I'm on a business travel. I'm making an official. There is an official expense which is happening, and I'm on the move, right? I'm on the road. I'm with the vendor. I'm buying something, and I get an invoice, right? The moment that invoice comes in, I can just click a photograph of that invoice and post it into my system, right, on my mobile. So I'm on in front of the vendor. I see the invoice. I click a photo, and the system will be able to extract all this information immediately and post it into my system, so that my finance team can actually take care of it. Take care of the processing. So it becomes very efficient that we don't need to always collect those invoices. I mean, most probably send it to the head office, and then in head office, someone is sitting and doing those entries, right? It can be a very dynamic kind of a setup where you can make the operations very, very efficient. I remember one of the banks I was talking to, who has almost like 14, 15 branches. Their operations was still done in this way, that they have 15 branches. All the invoices in all those 15 branches were sent to head office. There were few people sitting in head office every month. They used to punch these invoices, during the end of the month, kind of a cycle, right? Imagine if this responsibility shifted to each branch, right? You just click a photo of the invoice, the system automatically extracts, and the person sitting in head office is just looking at the invoice and approving it, right? For audit purposes, the invoices can come, later to the head office for documentation purposes. Now, this will help in two things, right? One is speeding up the process. Second, most important thing is real time data insights for the stakeholders like CFOs and finance heads to look at that, and even for finance managers to look at and manage, or look at the real time data for themselves, right? So I covered multiple points in the same point. So I covered the data driven insight as well. Another aspect is seamless integration. Now, the seamless integration can be thought of from multiple aspects, like I mentioned about this bank as an example, right? So you have multiple branches. You imagine the earlier integration approach was that you send the documents physically to head office, right? Now we have simplified it where you can take a photo of the invoice wherever you are, right? The soft copy of that through the system will automatically travel along with all those capabilities of machine learning, GenAI, OCR, which will extract information and keep it ready for you for reviews, right? Plus those business rule validations, right? All these things are all done. So the seamless integration also is all about these aspects, that how all these aspects will streamline and faster your process, right? Cost savings, of course, if you are dependent on all these manual efforts which is being done, this becomes all obviously more costly. You can minimize this time frame of approvals, reduce risk of frauds, reduce everything gets audited, right? So all these aspects helps in a big way in cost savings in long run, not just short run, but in long run this becomes even more effective because you have so much of information in the platform which can help you in generating the insights you can utilize to build some cost effective measures. And today the GenAI is advancing so much that you can even look at how GenAI will give you ideas on how to save costs, right? And that can happen if you have the data in the system, right? So that's what we are looking at from a cost and saving perspective. Faster approvals I already mentioned, so I will not repeat that. So let's move on. Okay. So before I mean, of course, we will talk about this aspects on the live demo. We also have a virtual assistant, system, which also brings in efficiency, right? Right. That at any given point of time, when you are in a finance team and you need to look up for some invoice, right? You always have to go through those scanned copies, maybe tally entries to find out information, right? Imagine you have a virtual assistant with you, where you can just talk to the virtual assistant or you can ask questions to the virtual assistant and you get response about your own data, right? When I say your own data, the financial data, the invoice data you're talking about, right? So this also we will see during the demonstration, where a virtual assistant, imagine a virtual assistant is like an AI agent which is next to you, sitting with you, helping you out in your, making your life easy, right? Instead of searching number of hours for information, you can just ask a question and our AI agent will come and help you and give that response, right? And this is not a response from Google, right, or Chat GPT. This is a response based on what data you have in your organization and completely secure, because the GenAI model that we are using, the LLM models or information that we are using is secured, is within your organization's purview, right? It is not on the internet. It is completely enclosed. That's the way the platform is also secured from that perspective. Yeah. So Pallavi, maybe over to you to have a quick demo, and maybe I can chip in wherever I feel I need to add my views.
Thank you, Mr. Anil. I'll just quickly set up my stage. Allow me a minute.
Sure. Maybe we can run the second poll in the meantime.
Absolutely. So let's run the second poll. Uh, Another question we have is Tally integration with AI can optimize your AP process. which benefits of AI-powered tally integration? Will it excite you? Faster invoice processing, reduced error and discrepancies, improved data visibility and reporting, and seamless integration with existing systems. So, which benefit do you think AI-powered tally integration will help you the most? As manual data entry was one of the challenges a lot of companies are facing these days. So, in relation to that, what do you think will be the most benefits we can reap out from integration with AI-powered tools? Let's take 1 minute to answer this poll. And I will request everyone to please pitch in your answer. And we would love to know what are your thoughts on this. All right. Thank you so much for pitching in the answer. And let's move ahead with the result. So, 58% people expressed interest that they think reduced error and discrepancies will be there if we integrate AI-powered platform with Tally or other smart financial platforms. Obviously, faster invoicing processing system will take place with AI-powered integration. Improved data visibility and reporting. This really helps in understanding the current business trends and also helps management make strategic decisions in future. And seamless integration with existing systems. So this is also 16% people who have voted this.
So, Pallavi, the way I see it is that the third point, or sorry, second point, which scored the most. I think every person responsible for this would face this, right? Maybe
Absolutely.
the person who's doing data entry, person who's approving, person who's looking at the data or reports to manage. I think for this, that's why it scored the highest. But you look at from a point of view that every person in the finance department has different role to play, correct?
Mhm.
And so for example, the faster invoice processing. So people who are actually punching in the data, right? For them, that becomes important, right? Then there are management people who are, I mean, the finance managers, who are reviewing the data. For them, the improved data visibility and reporting becomes important, right?
Mhm.
Someone who's punching data into Tally, and again, I think those are challenges which people face, right? Not everyone has access to ERP systems or financial accounting systems. So I think the question is tricky because if there are distributed roles in the organization or people with, attending this call, everyone will have their own responsibility, and based on that, they will feel that that's my problem statement.
Mm.
So I think all these points are valid. I think if you look at from an organization point of view, all of these are very much valid for from an enterprise or organization perspective.
Absolutely. Moving on to our demo, this is our front door of AIQoD Smart AP platform. We also have a bundle of other platforms which will be serving multiple departments within the organization. So AIQoD 360 is a digital transformation firm which will help any organization have 360 support in terms of all the departments. We have platforms available. So instead of subscribing to multiple apps out there, you can just subscribe to the bundle pack we are having. And for each and every department like support, finance, sales, marketing, accounting, we have these project tools available. And as the business owners, you will have a unified dashboard, which is right here on the top. Management, Collabro, Employee Handbook. These dashboard will give you a bird eye view of what is happening within the company, and it will also help you generate reports. So, entire visibility and transparency is something which we are providing. And of course, we have very affordable options and plans out there. So, moving on, Smart AP is our account payable system, which is solving one of the most common problem of managing account payable manually. It is an inefficient process, and a lot of errors happen when we are entering these data and details manually. And also, it is very time consuming. Businesses often face challenges with invoice discrepancies, as we have just raised a poll and we got to know that it is one of the biggest problems. And late payments are also there, which drain the resources and hinders productivity. So the solution which we have built up is Smart AP, which is an automated accounting payable platform designed to streamline the entire invoicing and payment process, which is AI powered platform. So Smart AP captures invoice details, matches them with the purchase order, and it also flags discrepancy all in real time. How it works? So once you go into Smart AP platform, and upload an invoice, um, it will fetch all the information which is there in the invoice. The invoice can be in any manner. It can be in doc, PDF, screenshots, even your handwritten notes can also work. So let me just quickly show you how to upload an invoice. Once the invoice is uploaded, it will come into the My Task section, and then it will be visible here right in Smart AP dashboard. So this is the invoice I just uploaded. On the left hand side, this is the invoice. And on the right hand side, you can see that the automatic entries have been done: invoice title, invoice number, vendor name. I didn't even have to spend even 1 second of my time to make the manual entry. Long figures like GST details, ledger details, tag details, all of this is automatically fetched in by the system. And Smart AP is a GenAI powered mechanism. So even I just need to fed in the information once, system will remember it forever. So if you are putting in the invoices for the same vendor, you need not to again and again put the GST details, and system will remember. And of course, it will also integrate the line of items. So whatever items you are purchasing, everything will be updated into Smart AP. So once I save and continue this, this manual entry will be done into Smart AP without any of the work. So I haven't spent even 1 second of my time in putting in the entries manually. So let me just quickly show you the Tally interface. So this is the Tally interface. And if you can see that the invoice which we have just imported is this one. And if I click on this, this is the entry which is automatically done by the system. So this is how simple it is to import an invoice into Tally. Without any issues, you can just save a lot of your time in the day and focus it on the most important things. Now, one of the other unique features which we have is a dashboard. So I would like to show you how our dashboards will help you in generating and tracking these invoices. So we have a Smart AP dashboard which shows you how many invoices you have updated on a daily basis, weekly basis, really depends on you. And these reports are completely customizable. We can customize these reports as per your needs. And you will also have a dashboard which shows you the payment. So you can track these payments, you can track the vendor invoices, you can track the total payables as well. So our Smart AP platform complements any of the accounting and financial tool out there. Challenges can be eliminated, the discrepancies, manual data, your time can be saved, and the system can, AIQoD 360 can be seamlessly integrated with any accounting system out there. So this is what we are helping you with. Our platform will help you in smarter, faster, and more efficient manner of accounts payable. So let me just quickly go back to the PPT and
Sorry, before I just want to, maybe spend few minutes and explain. Uh, so one of the things which you looked at was the screen where the invoice got getting extracted, and you were looking at all the data on the right hand side, which was extracted data. So basically, all those manual punching activity goes down, right? Um, so if you can open that screen, any screen, would help. Okay.
And one more thing I would like to mention here is invoice need not to be just in English. It can be in any other language, as our platform supports 22 Indian languages and various international languages. So automatically, if you are getting invoices in any other language, it will be automatically converted into English. Let me bring up another invoice. So
Pallavi,
invoices
maybe
can be in any format. Yes, Mr. Anil.
you want to check so that we can you have a access. You can check and sorry for the technical issues.
Let's bring up another invoice. Let's go back into the My Task section. And how about we open, let's go back to the My Task section.
Maybe you can.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry for this technical issue. Okay, maybe you can check that and bring it up. In the meantime, we can actually look at some of those capabilities in terms of the virtual assistant, right? I think virtual assistant was being shown, right? Maybe Ramit can show that.
Mm-hmm.
Ramit, is it possible to show the virtual assistant while Pallavi, maybe you can check on the invoice that you want to show.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you can see virtual assistant. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, that from a platform perspective, while these invoice processings are happening behind the scenes and organizations, I mean the processing is happening right at ground level. A lot of invoices which are coming in, and you need to look at while you are in the finance department, you need to look at certain elements, certain aspects that okay, you want to ask certain questions, right? And so Ramit is going to show certain aspects of how we can ask these questions. You will also see that there is a microphone and speaker button. I don't know whether right now the sharing is happening for a specific screen, but let's look at what is the response. Yeah, so basically you can ask any sort of questions to the virtual assistant and you will get responses, right? So what is the total number of invoices uploaded as an example, right? The system automatically goes and checks what's happening, how much is done, and responds back. Similarly, another question. Yeah. So can you show the question what you had asked, maybe? Okay, give me the dates when invoice were uploaded. Again, so basically what is happening is while you are processing all the data, behind the scenes, the platform is able to understand, or the virtual assistant, which is based on GenAI, is able to understand your natural language, right? You are asking questions in your own way, like probably you will ask someone in finance team, and finance team person will ask or check the data and come back. But here it is more automated. You can ask these questions and get the information, right? But this is also important that these are all protected based on your access levels. So here, for example, what is the total tax amount collected this month, right? So it is automatically giving you a final number. This is based on all the invoices which are getting processed. So, for example, what is the total invoice amount collected? So again, although in this case it will be invoice, which came in and what needs to be paid. So system understands your queries, understands your question, and automatically responds back with your total number. Right now, you can see a microphone button at the bottom corner and a speaker button. Right. So the system also, you can talk to the system as well. Whatever Ramit was typing, you can actually ask questions to the virtual assistant. It will respond back. Okay, that's the way the platform works. Also, this is available in 22 Indian languages. So if you have a question, you can ask in your own language. Even if the data is stored in English, the system will automatically pick up and understand your language and respond back in your own language. So if I ask in Hindi, even if the information is in stored in the platform in English, it will respond back in Hindi to me, right? In any language for that, 22 Indian languages. So we are tied up with Bhashini, so Department of Electronics and Telecommunication, through which we have implemented this language model, and we have got this capability into the platform as well. So this is about virtual assistant. Similarly, let's say I had mentioned about those aspects of TDS and account ledgers as well, right? So the platform remembers that which okay, I will take a step back and explain that part. You have, as an organization, okay, for example, you have create multiple ledgers. Okay, so if we talk about a financial accounting system, it's a very open-ended system. Okay, for example, let's say you have taxes, which GST, and all those kind of multiple ledger accounts would be there, right? So in case of GST, you can have multiple ways you can define ledgers, right? You can have a combined bucket, you can have a split between various brackets, like for example 18% GST, right? Those kind of 28% GST. You can create multiple ledger accounts, or you can have a single ledger account also, right? And then there are those SGST, IGST, CGST as well. Now, based on your organization setup, right, the system adapts itself, right? While you are processing the invoice, the system will automatically adopt and understand your financial accounting model and automatically help you in aligning it with that. What does it mean? So, if let's say you are charging a vendor with a 18% GST, the system will remember that for future. Like I mentioned about TDS as well, the system will automatically remember that this, if let's say the same vendor comes in future, the system has to post this entry in that specific ledger, right? I mean, I'm talking about the GST component of 18%. It will automatically post into that 18% GST ledger in your accounting system. Let's say it's a Tally or any other accounting system. So the platform syncs this ledger details, all other details into the platform and automatically manages it. Maybe you can show the setup wizard once, the integration part, right? One of the key concern was how the integration happens, right? So we can show that quickly on the integration part. Yeah. So it is as simple as that. You can come here, go down a bit. You can download this utility and you can just install this. The system will automatically, you can see the 4 steps: utility install status, tally activation status, port detection status, and ledger sync status. So I mentioned about ledger is sync right now, right? Where all your multiple ledgers you have created, the system has to sync it with. Why? Because you don't want to spend a lot of time understanding where this post entry has to be posted, right? The system has to automatically remember and post these entries. So the last step is about ledger sync, and I will explain that in a minute. But what happens is this installation or integration with Tally is automatic. You come here, you install, the system will automatically perform these 4 steps, and you will be surprised to see that you can start processing invoice and it will start getting posted into Tally, as an example, right? So this is how the integration becomes easy as well, or a SaaS driven approach as well, right? So the model that we work on is no pack capex model, so that organizations can benefit from these kind of technologies, whether it is GenAI, whether it is automation, the system will help in speeding up that process. Now, what we are in, I mean, I'm also going to touch upon that ledger sync, like I mentioned. So what it does, it syncs your ledger, understands that what kind of ledgers have been designed or created in your accounting system, and it actually brings back into the invoice model, right? Where you have to say that, okay, specific vendor, where which ledger these entries have to be posted, be it normal, transactions or amounts, tax amounts, or regular payment amounts and all, or whether it is TDS or whether it is GST, all of them it will sync once, right? And then once you do this activity for one vendor in 1 month, every month the system will remember this, okay, based on all these technologies that we talked about, and it will automatically help in posting this faster, right? So that there is a less of human errors that we post in wrong ledgers, and accordingly the deal payments get delayed and the entire efficiency also kind of impacts, right? So that's about ledger. Similarly, the other aspects, the two aspects that we are going to bring in the coming months, one of the requests which came in from one of the customers or partners was related to reconciliation and payments, right? So typically, what happens is one of the questions are also related to that. There are a lot of challenges in terms of payments which are done and the reminders which has to be sent. So there are a lot of entries which goes into Tally. Payments also goes into Tally, but there is a lot of information which is missing to, or rather, reconciliation that needs to be done for follow-ups of payments, right? This is where the platform will help in automatically understanding that for a specific invoice, whatever the payments which were done, automatically will do the reconciliation and automatically send reminders to the organizations where the, or the suppliers where these payments or sorry customers where these payments have to be done, right? Or who has to do the payment. So there's this reminder cycle along with the reconciliation model is also going to be built here. Secondly, as you see some of these dashboards, there are a lot of other financial dashboards that you would like to see. We are getting a lot of requests from customers to add those kind of dashboards into the platform. So you will get a lot of analytical dashboards, analytical reports with respect to various requirements like cash flows, projections, budget utilization, a lot of things like this, and you will be getting this on the dashboard that you see in front of you, right? So that again, finance managers can actually take decisions based on that and take immediate actions based on how the data is uh, in the systems like Tally or financial accounting, other systems like ERP or Oracle systems and other systems which are in place. So that's at least from a demo perspective. Anything else which we missed out, Pallavi, which we wanted to showcase?
I think everything is covered.
Okay. So, okay. So I think we can maybe open up for questions, queries if you have. Um,
There is one last um, information which we wanted to share regarding the challenges and best practices, Mr. Anil. So let me just quickly share my screen, and maybe you can brief us about the challenges of the current challenges and best practices.
okay. So I think all the questions, all the slides which was covered, which actually gave a view of what are the common challenges, right? Typically, when we talk about GenAI based model on ML and machine learning based model, uh, and one of the biggest challenge people face is accuracy, right? And this is where the platform is a bit different, right? The data complexities, for example, we have invoices from every vendor invoice is completely different format, right? That's one of the biggest challenge that organization face, and that is something which we have technically sorted using all these technologies which I mentioned. We can read any invoice, any format, and automatically system can extract information from there. So that's the first part. Second is integration issues, right? One of the main aspect is how organizations use multiple systems. Today, if you look at, if you talk to 10 different organizations, they will have 10 different accounting systems, right? Many of the organizations still have legacy systems in place. So this is where what the best part of this platform is. Although we have provided an option of Tally today, but to integrate with any ERP system is very, very easy for this platform. So we can quickly connect to any ERP, be it the Oracles of the world or SAPs of the world, or even in-house ERP system that organizations may have. Last but I think most important is change management. Okay, organization typically needs tweaking to must all these kind of solutions, and for them they need flexibility or a way to adopt new workflows, new solutions without adding to too much of cost. And this is where our platform kind of helps organizations in. Again, it will cost definitely. The out of the box SaaS model is definitely way cheaper, and solution wise it is perfect. But if someone wants a custom solution, that is also not going to be too costly for them. They can always pay a bit of price or add a bit of price to it, and then they can actually build this kind of custom solution for themselves, right? And we can talk about it maybe in detail if someone is interested on that. From a best practice, you were saying something, Pallavi?
I'll ask the questions later.
Yeah, okay. From a best practices perspective, I mentioned about invoice formats and all, right? So that's one of the things that is important. That I know that the world is not going to align to single format, right? But so the systems have to align to it. So our platform is able to do that. And also at the same time, now the training staff thoroughly on the new system and its benefits. I think these are some of the aspects which becomes important when you actually implement a new solution. First of all, educating that how this platform is going to help them, right? And also at the same time, how these systems are going to, they have to be trained in these systems so that they can make the best use of it, right? Always there are inhibitions in terms of how the platforms will take away jobs, right? But that's not the thought process of any technology innovation, right? One of the most important element of technology innovation is how technology can help humans, right, to improve, make it more efficient for them and things like that. So that's how I see it, that best practices, you need to train the team, you need to educate the team, and you need to get the best out of the application, where the team itself comes out with new suggestions that okay, this can be done, can we achieve it through technology, right? So that will be the best practices that we should follow.
Thank you so much, Mr. Anil, for such an insightful explanation of AI-powered system. And we have opened the stage for our guests to ask any questions they have. And one of the questions we are getting from our guest is, can we access Smart AP from mobile? Can we upload invoices on the go?
Yeah, so one of the example is like I mentioned, the example initially, if you are on the move in front of the vendor. Actually, the reason why I said that was because I do that. Okay, I actually use my mobile to access everything. I mean, not just a smart AP, but the entire platform. I do mostly 50% of my work through the mobile itself using this app. And one of the activities is smart AP, where I can just upload invoices wherever I am, and my job is done, right? And even my finance person is happy that he doesn't have to follow chase me for invoice copies, right? So yes, definitely a big plus. So everyone can benefit from the mobile application which comes along with the standard package.
Okay, and next question from our guest is, as a lot of businesses in India are having suppliers and vendors from China and other countries, so does a Smart AP handle multi-currency invoices?
Yes, we do handle multi-currency invoice as well. So that's an additional feature that we have. In fact, most of our customers are global customers, and we dealt like I mentioned. I think we mentioned about the 22 Indian languages. Our platform supports major international languages, and the primary reason for that was, our organizations or enterprises or customers who are spread across. And one of the capability that we have built in the platform is to understand multiple languages and multiple currencies as well. So
Wow, that is amazing.
we have handled even Arabic invoices, so which is one of the most toughest because it's the language is written in a different way compared to other languages, right? So left to right. So that's something which we have handled as well.
So does it translate it back to English? Like if I have received an invoice in Chinese language, so when I upload it into your system, will it translate it back to English or will I have to first translate it and then import?
So we didn't get any such requirement, but this is a new idea which I guess we can implement as well. That and we have those capabilities, right? You must have seen the voice conversion and all. So we can always bring this aspect as well, element as well, where the system will automatically give a English version of whatever invoice has come in.
Actually, I've tried that, and it does convert the language as well
Oh,
without
great!
any kind of translation tool required. So I tried
Great.
uploading one of the invoices in Chinese, and it was giving all the information in English. So that
Excellent.
is, I was very amazed to see that. And
Excellent.
another question we are getting from our guest is, um, how will I understand that my data is secured?
Yeah, so I think from a platform perspective, we follow some strict measures. Okay, that this okay, there are multiple. First of all, there are multiple options or of installation. Okay, first option is cloud. Okay, which is a cloud which we have host on. Second is private customer private cloud. Third is on-premise solution. Okay, we have all these solution options for our customers, right? So I think if it is on-premise customer cloud, I think there is no concern, right? It's your, I mean, if it's customers' premises and customers' cloud, so they have complete control of what they are, uploading and things like that. The primary concern comes when it is about our cloud, right? This is where our platform is, goes through stringent measures like we do those VAPT certifications and multiple, because we have international clients as well, so we take a lot of security measures in terms of ensuring that the platform is secure, first of all. Secondly, we also ensure that while, and it's a social responsibility as well, we need to ensure that from a platform itself perspective, the platform has divided, even if it is a single cloud where all customers reside, there is a virtual space in the platform, right? So as an organization, when I log in into the platform, I mean, technically we call it as organization ID, but it's a virtual space for me, right? So this virtual space, nobody else can come in. Okay, so every organization gets a virtual space on the cloud that we are talking about, and that's how the data is kind of technically secure from getting access from outside as well.
Amazing. And one last question before we end our webinar. How do you envision the role of AI agents evolving in other areas of financial operations beyond account payable?
I think AI agents are going to touch every aspect, right? And like I mentioned, sometime back on the best practices, I think we as an, one of the prime team members or whatever function we are doing, right? Each one of us actually does some function in an organization. We need to see how technology can help us, right? And most of the innovations that we are doing is while talking to our subject matter experts. When I say subject matter experts, like I mentioned about few of the ideas, right, which came from our customers and partners, right? Those are subject matter experts who are actually at the ground level, who are actually giving us the ideas that this is something which you can implement, which is going to help masses. So this is the way I see it. That I like I mentioned about two of the areas where invoice reconciliation and reminders collection in helping in collection and all. That's one aspect. Second aspect is how data analytics in terms of cash flows, projections, budgets, all those things can be given on the dashboard. This is something which we are right now working on. Let's put it that way. But at the same time, I would say that it is the subject matter expert who can actually think beyond all these aspects and keep coming up with great ideas and start using technologies to help AI agents to help themselves. Let's put it that way. Right? That's the way I see it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Anil, for such an in-depth presentation. I really learned a lot. It's clear that Smart AP can transform the business and, of course, optimize their account payable processes and, of course, reduce the boring work of manual data entry. To our audience, thank you so much for joining us. If you would like to learn more about Smart AP and Tally integration, feel free to reach out to us. We will share this session with you, and we will also be having another webinar in coming Thursday. So keep an eye on in your email as we'll be sending you the invite. If you want to get a personalized demo session, you can reach out to us. You can book a demo with us. If you want us to help you manage your account payable process or any other process or any other CRM system, we are here to help you. So you can scan the QR code and you can get in touch with us. Otherwise, you can revert us via email. So thank you so much, and we will see you next week.
Thank you all.
Thank you.